Hello, it's the beginning of May, so I thought I would do a little beginning of May update. All sorts of things have been going on. I've been incredibly busy. The greenhouses are filling up beautifully, and I've got some more seeds to sow today, which I want to show you. Now, the beginning of May is the time when I sow my beans, so my French beans and my runner beans. There are so many different varieties to choose from. Everybody has a preference, but I will show you which ones I'm sowing and growing this year, and whichever ones you're growing, then you just need to plant in exactly the same way. Now, I sow my bean seeds at the beginning of May because they're tender crops, which means that if they get frost on them, then they will die. So you have to think about when your last frost date is, and I'm down in the southeast of the UK, so we always say that the first date that you can put out any of your tender crops is the 1st of June, which is why I sow my seeds on the 1st of May, because give them a month and they should be just about 9 inches tall, which is actually the perfect size to start putting them outside. You can sow directly outside if you like. I have tried this. It's never been very successful because squirrels, or in my case here, mice or bunnies, will dig up the seeds and run off with them. And I do tend to find that the germination rate for the ones that you sow directly outside isn't as high as the ones that I will sow in my greenhouse. So this is why I sow mine in the greenhouse. Now, I have got lots of different varieties here. I've got some climbing French beans, and I've got some dwarf French beans. Now, if you are a little limited on space, dwarf French beans are a really good idea because they'll get to about 12 to 18 inches tall. They don't need staking and they produce quite a lot of beans. So the dwarf variety I have got this year are called Mascot. There. The climbing ones I have got are Blue Lake. Now, I love Blue Lake. They are prolific. So the climbing ones need a structure to grow up, but the dwarf ones don't. Now, I'm also growing some runner beans. The climbing ones are called Guinness Record. They grow to about, the pods get to about anywhere between, about 50 centimetres, 20 inches long. Whether that will actually happen, I don't know. And you can also get dwarf French beans. And these ones are called TZ1111. These are actually, they were trying them out. So they've most probably got a different name by now because I have had these for a couple of years. The other thing that I am going to sow today is some pak choi. Now, pak choi, oh, can you see that? There we go. Pak choi can be sown directly outdoors, but I think I will, again for the same reason, I will sow some inside, and then when it gets a bit larger, then I will transplant them out. But you can sow pak choi May, June, July and August. It grows really quite quickly, so you should be harvesting it within about 6 to 8 weeks. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Now, all these beans I will sow in exactly the same way. Yesterday I sowed 3 of them because I had some time, but I am going to show you how I did those by sowing my Blue Lake ones. Now, the structures that you put your beans up, it's entirely up to you whether you want to have a wigwam or whether you want to have a long structure. I've got a wigwam and I've got 8 sticks, and I suppose from one side to the other must be about 2 foot. So that's the wigwams don't take up a huge amount of space. The long structures do tend to. So anyway, let me show you how I'm going to sow my bean seeds, and then I will give you a quick tour round the greenhouses so you can see how everything's getting on, and also out in the garden so you can see how that's all getting on too. I've got my little square pot here, and what I'm going to do, because I've got 8 sticks, I'm going to do 8 pots. Now I'll only show you one, and then I will get on and do all the other ones when you're not looking. So I've got some multi-purpose compost, and I'm just filling this pot right to the top, and when it gets to the top with compost, then just firm it down. If it goes down a little bit further and goes down a little bit too far, you can always add a little bit more. You don't want to compact it, you just want to make sure it's firm. Now what I'm going to do, if you are growing the runner beans, I would suggest doing 2 seeds per pot, so 1 north, 1 south, or you can do diagonal corners. But because French bean seeds are a little bit smaller, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 in each corner. So let me just, oh, I didn't open this. Am I going to be able to open this? Oh yes, there we go. There we go. Now, French bean seeds, she says, but they're not coming out, are much smaller than runner bean seeds, which is why I am sowing 4 per pot. So, oh, there we are. They are French bean seeds, so you can see that they're really quite small. And let me get a runner bean seed so you can see the difference. Now, they will be roughly the same size for all French bean seeds, whatever variety, but they could be a different colour. So that is a runner bean seed, and that is a French bean seed. Oops. So there is a big difference. Okay, so we'll put the runner bean back because I've done those. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to place 1 seed in each corner. If you find any seeds that are sort of half seeds, then get rid of those. Don't sow them, because the likelihood of them germinating is quite small. So hopefully you can see that I've got 1 in each corner. Then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to push the seeds down, and I will just push them down to just past this first knuckle here. There they go. Now I don't know whether you can see them, but there they are. 1, 2, well, they are in there. Okay, then all you need to do is to fill up those little holes with a little bit more compost. And what I will do is as I've got 8 sticks, I will have 1 pot per stick. So I will have plenty of beans growing up each stick. That's why I've grown 4, because the germination rate is usually pretty good. I would expect 3 out of the 4 to germinate. So that's why I am growing 4 in, or I'm planting 4 in each pot. In the runner beans, I would expect definitely 1, possibly 2 to germinate. The germination rate is usually pretty good, unless of course they're getting quite old. So that's 1 done. I will do the other 7, but I think I need to show you how everything's getting on in the greenhouse. In the greenhouse here, we will just go through very quickly because there's a lot to show you. The rocket is doing really well. Just need to wait for that to just get a little bit more substantial, and then I can put it out. I've got some red veined sorrel here. I've sown another couple of rows of lettuce, not because we've eaten the first lot, but because none of it so far has come up. And I think the reason for that is because the seed packets that I have are so old, they're not very happy. So I think they've gone past their best. But anyway, here are some wildflowers and some perennial flower mixes, which I will very soon transplant in little clumps so that they can go out in the flower beds. The purslane is growing really well, which will need pricking out very soon. The lemongrass, and again I'm having trouble with the lamb's lettuce, but that was quite old. I'm not willing to throw seeds away. I just, want to see if I can get anything. The lobelia at the back here, you may remember the first lot got eaten, so I sowed some more, and that's growing really well now. The aqualegias are doing well. That's obviously a weed, so there's a little bit of grass. We want to get that out. I've just sown some honesty. I only did that yesterday, so that's not going to do anything. The strawberries are doing really well, and I have my very first strawberry, which I'm going to eat. Oh man, oh that was so nice. Lovely. Down here I've got some papaver which I pricked out yesterday, some more nasturtiums. I've got some dragon's tongue rocket at the back which is doing really well, some ladybird poppies here which are great. I need to prick out the tatsoi soon. Down here I pricked out yesterday the chicory, and I pricked out some papavers. Across here I have got some foxgloves which I pricked out. Under here I've got one lot of beans, and the reason I have put a cover over the top of them is because sometimes we get a mouse in here and I'm not willing for it to pinch my beans, so I've got some runner beans under each of those. There's my fennel which I pricked out yesterday, which is doing really well. If we look over here, the tomatoes are doing great. The butternut squash have just started to germinate. Loads of tomatoes. This is the Japanese greens, which I will be putting outside fairly soon. Some more tomatoes which I pricked out yesterday. I've got some spider plants here which I've moved from outside, from in the house out here because they'll be fine. Coriander will be going out fairly soon. The gourds and the cucumbers and courgettes are looking good, and this is a load of basil and some more coriander, so that's great. Now let's whiz into the other one. Okay, now over here the melons are doing well. I've got a couple of cabbage there, cucumbers, and the okra is doing good. These are my exhibition onions which I will be planting outside in the next couple of weeks. There's some heathers down here, lavender, which I just need to wait to get a little bit bigger, and more tomatoes down the bottom. Loads of tomatoes along here, and some aubergines which are putting on some more growth. I need to get the cosmos outside. We've got leeks, marigolds, sweet corn is doing good. I have got down here, I have got some more artichokes which I want to, the artichoke bed is practically full, but I want to put these in little spaces between beds and things like that. There's some chilies here, some more rocket. There's a load of brassicas over here which are doing really well, some poppies on the ends, some sweet peas, cauliflowers, sunflowers, more rainbow peppers over here which are looking absolutely stonking. And I've got some more cucurbits here, so some more courgettes and pumpkins, spinach. There was one spinach, again that was quite old, one lettuce. So you can see it's doing good. Some dill, and these sweet scented geraniums are doing fab. So let's go and have a quick look outside, and then we'll come back in. If we look at this bed here, it does look like organised chaos, but it is not. There's a few weeds in here, but this is my fruit bed. Let me see if I can get back to try and get as much of it in as I possibly can. I've got the rhubarb here, which has just gone ballistic. I've got a goji, I've got gooseberries, currants, loads and loads of flowers on my strawberries, which is so exciting. The raspberries are now about 2.5 feet tall, and I have a greengage tree there, which I got last year, I think, or the year before. I think the year before. It didn't do much last year, it needed to settle. but it's put on so much growth this year. I still need to put wire across for the raspberries, but that's on the big to-do list. So that is the fruit bed. It just needs a little bit of a weed, but it is full. All the little spare spaces have got strawberries on them. So yes, I think it looks a mess, but it's not. That's what I try and convince myself to say anyway. Right, I have got a load of potatoes in buckets here. They're all coming up absolutely brilliantly. There is nothing in this cage at the moment, which is why the girlies are having a lovely scratch and a lovely play about in there and a shake. So they're very happy. So they can do this for a little bit longer. If I come round here, oh, and I'm actually in the way, which is not right. This is catmint. This is not a nettle. This is catmint. So it's supposed to scare away cats and rats and things like that, but it doesn't seem to be doing its job very well. So anyway, I've got some spring onions from last year, which I keep picking, so they're doing well. That is my kiwi, which is loving it where it is. And then I've got, what have I got? I've got sorrel, red vein sorrel there. The tayberry is just amazing, and this is the first lot of radishes, and this is the first one I am harvesting. That's cool, I like that. Lots more in there that are ready. Look, oh my goodness, it's so nice. So, oh wow, they're good sizes. I like those, fantastic. The blueberries, we have got little flowers on them here and here. So hopefully we will get some fruit off of those. The asparagus has been going mental. So we've been picking that and having lots of that. And the spuddies growing in here are doing really well. I've also got some spuddies over here in some other pots. And this is a new bed that I have created here, which is a lovely sort of, it's going to be a cottagey gardeny type thing. So I've got lots of little seedlings. I sprinkled a load of seedlings and I put some bee bombs in here as well. And then that tree at the back is an apple tree. So the tulips are just finishing, but everything else is now coming to life. I've got a few plants that I took cuttings from, which I just need to put in. This is my fairy garden, which I only started last year, and I'm well chuffed with it. It's coming up absolutely brilliantly, so I'm really pleased with that. Got some lovely fairies in there and some nice water, and there are more plants that will need to go in here, but for the time being it's doing good. Now if we go down to this bed here, I've been very busy in this bed here. So I have got garlic, broad beans, which are just starting to get their flowers on them. Now once you get your flowers, keep an eye out for the aphids. Now you can either spray them with something that you buy in the shops, or you can do very, very well diluted washing up liquid. I've got some parsnips growing there, some Monge 2, I've got some carrots, I've got some more sugar snap peas, spring onions, turnips, beetroot, and some more carrots growing there. These are my wigwams for my beans to grow up. There's a little bit of space in the middle, which I'll most probably put some lettuce in. Okay, so this is another, oh, I don't know if you can see, the sun's right in the wrong place. This is another flower bed, which has just got all sorts of bits and pieces in it, just to make it look lovely and pretty. I hope you're not getting sick with me wandering around like this. Okay, there is my herb patch, which is looking good. The dill will go in there soon, and so will the basil. Here are my artichokes in there. They're fab, and if you can see, there's a little box at the top. I have some blue tip babies in there, which I'm so excited about. I'll turn this way because I've got washing on the line and you don't want to see Mark's pants. And in this bed here, I've got to take out those 2 sprouting brassicas at the end because they've finished. They were last year's. The chickens have been having a lovely scratch in here. What I will do is, where the brassicas were, I'm going to put the sweet corn, and I'm going to put some of the butternut squash, and in the cages I am going to put, I think in this cage here, I will put a load of the cucurbit, the brassicas, and I'm not quite sure, whatever I've got left I will put in that one. But if we just go to the end here, I have another tree there. I hope you can see it because the shadow, and that is a plum. So a plum and a greengage go really, really well together because they're from the same family. So that's that, and I've got a lovely rose, climbing rose up there. I will try and do a photo from upstairs so that you can see the whole garden and the whole layout. That is how everything's getting on at the moment. As I say, I have got an awful lot to do. I've got some more pricking out to do. Now, when I sow my pak choi, what I will do is I will just put some compost in one of my little sort of seed tray sections, one of these, and I will just put some compost in, just pat it down, sprinkle some seeds on the top, and then just put a little bit more compost on top of that. And just make sure that, especially at this time of year, it's actually really quite hot. It is 26 degrees in the greenhouse at the moment, but it's getting on for 5 o'clock, so it was actually a lot hotter in here earlier on. But just make sure that you keep up with the watering. I know it's difficult because there is so much to do, but I will make sure that I've watered these. When I will put them in a tray, and I will water from the top so that the water runs through. Once they all start to germinate, then you can water from the bottom and let the compost soak up, and then that way it'll encourage the roots to go down. But to start with, I would suggest that you water from the top and let the water filter through, because that way the seeds are less likely to go mouldy and die. Well, I hope you've enjoyed seeing how everything's getting on. When I do the next update, which will be in about 2 weeks' time, I may well be getting something. Yes, the onions I will start planting outside. That's the thing that can go under one of the cages. And so those will be going out. But the beginning of June, there will be so much going outside because frost would have gone from where I live. The further north you live, then your frost date is slightly later. So wherever you live, do check that out. We don't do zones in the UK. I know the States do zones. I have no idea what my zone is to a zone in the States. I really don't know. So you know where you live. You know what zone you live in. I have a feeling, don't quote me on this, but I have a feeling that the southeast of the UK is zone 8 or 9. I don't know, I'm not 100% sure, but just check out your last frost date and go from there. Okay, but if you do have any questions, you know where to find me, and I will try and answer them as quickly as possible. Stay safe, look after yourselves. Enjoy getting out into your garden or your allotment, or however you're able to do any garden. If you've got a windowsill or you've got a balcony and you can grow something out there, then please do, if you're able to. Enjoy the sun, enjoy how weird life is at the moment. It will never be the same as this again. But we are getting there. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and we will soon sort of be back to normal. But take care. See you soon.